So I've brought you to one of my favorite places in southern Indiana to hike. This is a place called Cave River Valley. I just hiked down into the valley. You can see around, there's quite a hill all the way around. And we are in the valley. So I went ahead and did the hard part, came down into the valley. I'm going to show you one of my favorite places to hike. And gonna have a little chat about just kind of what I've been up to, some of the things that I'm doing, activism wise, I guess. Still not a super fan of that term, but just what I'm doing to help. How about that? And I thought it would be interesting to bring you to a place. I'm trying out a new camera here. See how it does as well. I want to do some more vlogs. Let's see. Show you where we are right now. Let's turn this around. And we have part of the river. We are in the valley. If you give me a minute, I'm going to show you why it's called Cave River Valley. So anyway, I just thought I'd have a chat with everybody about kind of what's going on, a little bit of an update. Go ahead and show you the creek here. I love this place because it's unlike anything else in southern Indiana. It's an absolutely otherworldly, gorgeous place that you just don't really find that much here in Indiana. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess, what's going on as far as the Shun podcast, as far as this JW life, as far as all the other things that I do, many of which you probably don't even know. And of course, I left my house. It was 65 degrees and sunny. I came out here. It is now 55 degrees and it is raining. So let's see how this goes. I mean, that's what you get in March. You never know what it's going to be. Here's a little sign, though, of spring. I'll make some of you happy. Look, it's a daffodil. And one is budding. So there will be more daffodils. Got a few more ahead. I think those are forsythia, if I'm not mistaken. So this place is starting to actually get some color and look a lot prettier. So, one of the things that I thought I'd let you guys know, some of you may or may not know already, my first podcast was called This JW Life. And it's been out there since 2017. It's helped a lot of people. I still get messages about it to this day. People find it. I love that my story is something that has been able to help so many. And recently, I got notice on YouTube that This JW Life was taken off of YouTube for a trademark violation. Now, we're left to our imagination as to where that trademark violation could have come from. If you know anything about This JW Life, it was just me and a mic talking, telling my story. There was no music. There wasn't anything copyrighted in there. I didn't use any of Watchtower's stuff or anything. The only thing that I can assume is that JW, which is trademarked by Jehovah's Witnesses, must have been the reason that it got taken down. YouTube doesn't really like to tell you why things are taken down. They just ban you. So that channel was removed. Thankfully, that's my secondary channel. That's not my primary channel. It's not what I do every week or every couple weeks. But I really don't understand why anybody else other than Watchtower would have any vested interest in removing a podcast that was on YouTube. It was just a static image of the logo that I made myself, and then the audio from the podcast. That was it. So there really wasn't, it was from 2017. It's been sitting on YouTube for years. It was 10 episodes. There was nothing new being added. There's really no reason for anybody to take something like that down. So the only people that I can imagine might have had any kind of reason to do so would be Watchtower. So, that's where we stand with that. This JW Life is still out there in podcast form, but as far as being on YouTube, that's a no-go right now. So I'm just going to rename it, and I'll put it back out there. We'll get rid of the trademark violation, if there is one. The only thing that I can assume was one. Get rid of the JW, and we'll see how it goes. I've already got a domain for it. Finding Jehovah is what I'm going to call it, and that's going to be that. So I think that the new name might piss them off even more, but it's not really something they can do much about. There's nothing they have trademarked or can really trademark there, and so that's going to be the new title. So this JW Life will still stay alive on all the podcast platforms. But on YouTube, it's going to be under the name Finding Jehovah. Let me turn this around real quick. Not to be too ADHD on you, but I got to show you this. It's really pretty. So this is as the river is coming down from the cave, which we'll go see here in a minute. In other words, it's just an absolutely beautiful place. So with the new name, I'm also doing other things. So a lot of you may not know this, but I've been working with a really cool gentleman for a while now. And what we've been doing is taking this JW Life, translating it. So I've been working on a transcript of the whole thing. I had it all done electronically. It was kind of a disaster. So I've been going through it line by line, word by word, cleaning it up, making it sound a little more organized, making it sound a little bit more like a book. And so I have another podcast that's out there that you may or may not even know about called, let's see if I can get this right. I no habla español, but Esta vida como testigo de Jehovah. That was probably the widest way that's ever been said. But that is a Spanish translation of this JW Life. This wonderful gentleman reached out to me, said that he wanted to translate it. He wanted it to be available to people that he loved. There wasn't anything quite like it out there in the Hispanic community. And so I guess he's the Hispanic me. And he is telling the story as though he were me. He is recording it. And then we are releasing it. He's done just so much work on this. I can't thank him enough. I think it's really cool. And, I know that it's already helping people. I can go to YouTube and translate the comments into English so that I can understand what's going on. And it's really encouraging to see actually thousands and thousands of people already finding it on YouTube. From that community and being helped by it. And I just think that's the greatest thing in the world. I actually have somebody else who wants to translate it into French. And so when we're done with the Spanish version of it, I may embark on that journey as well. It is a lot of work to do this. I've got to have another hosting account for the audio. I've got to set things up. I have to have a page on thisjwlife.com for Esta vida como testigo de Jehovah. And I think it's called vidadetestigo.com. So I bought another domain name to go to that page so that people could find it who happen to speak Spanish. I've got a few people lined up just in case there's any questions that need answered or anybody's looking for help. I have a few ex-JWs witnesses who speak Spanish that can help because obviously there's only so much I can do. Couple other things about this JW Life you might find interesting, or the new Finding Jehovah, which it's going to be called, is that I'm going to release it all as a book. I'm going to be releasing it as a digital book for free. I'm going to have a website, again, findingjehovahstory.com, and when I get time, I'm going to release it on there digitally where people can read it freely. I put this JW out there, I put a lot into it. And I put it out there freely because I wanted to help people. And so that's that's what it's there for. So as it becomes Finding Jehovah, I'm going to go ahead, like I said, put it up for free on a website where people can download it. If you want an audiobook version of it, well, listen to This JW Life. It's the same thing, only I cleaned it up a lot to put it in book form, kind of made it a little more seamless in certain ways. What else am I going to do with it? Oh, I guess I'll also have a Spanish version of the book, because as we're translating it into Spanish, I'll have the Spanish transcript, and so we'll be able to release that too, which I think will be really cool. I will look into what it takes to put it out, to release it on Kindle, as well as a physical paperback or maybe even hardcover book. I don't know. We'll see. I'll do that on Amazon, and then anybody who wants to have a physical copy of the book can have that. I'll do what I can there to keep costs down as low as I can. Again, my purpose of telling my story from the beginning was just to help, and I didn't know where it would lead me. So that's kind of some things that I'm looking forward to there. I think that it'll hopefully find new ways to help more people. All right, so now I'm going to take you up here, and we're going to see why this is called Cave River Valley. And then I'm going to talk some about Shunned, what's going on with that. I'm also going to talk about some projects that I have going on this summer that I think people are going to find interesting, exciting. But let's see. Never done this. Everything's kind of muddy here for obvious reasons. Get through here. And yeah, check this out. This is the river. If you look up ahead, you will see the cave the water is coming out of. See if we can walk right up here through it a little bit. Alright, so now I'm in the middle of it all. Found a place where I can get in. I don't even know if you can hear me, this is so loud. Check that out. Get up there and see if we can see it coming out of the cave. Alright, so I think it's probably too loud here to talk anymore. So I'm going to go back down over there somewhere, and we'll pick up our conversation. So, call out to Lloyd Evans. Lloyd Evans has a bunker, right? And it's kind of famed. Well, let me ask you, how many ex-JWs have actually broadcast from a cave? That's right. We're gonna go into the cave. Not even, people won't even be able to hide in caves in the days of the last days, right? In the days of Jehovah's Grand Fury, won't even be able to hide in the caves. So I guess that bunker won't do him any good either. That's right, we're going into the cave for this next conversation. Actually, probably not, because the acoustics will probably be terrible, but what you might like to see in a cave. I think this is called Endless Cave. It's not really endless, just in case you were wondering. Down there, there's a gate, and you have to have a key to the gate in order to go in. I've never had such a key. I'm not so sure that I've really ever cared to have such a key to go in there and find out what is in there. But I guess as my eyes adjust, I can see the gate down there, but the water's too deep. I'm not going to walk down. My glasses are fogging. But anyway, so how many so-called activists have been active enough to take you on a hike and get you out in a cave? All right, so we're up from the cave now. Let's go ahead and have some more of our chat. So let's talk about the Shunned podcast, kind of what's going on there a little bit. So Shunned is pretty much going great. It's as it always has been. 2 episodes a month, basically, one every other week. I've got a long waiting list of people with fascinating stories that I want to get to, that I want to put out there. I know that Shunned is helping people. I actually had somebody reach out, let me know that people had listened to her story in her circuit, and no less than 6 people had left the cult, in part. I'm not acting like it was me or her, but in part they felt brave enough to do so and knew that they weren't alone because they listened to the podcast. Made apparently enough of an impact that at the circuit assembly, or maybe it was a special day, I don't know. But anyway, why's this all got to be on hills? I guess it is a valley. So anyway, made enough of an impact that apparently at the assembly they had to call it out. They asked for people to quit listening to a particular piece of apostate propaganda that was going around. So always nice to be heard, always nice to be seen, always nice to help somebody get out of the cult. I mean, whew, what a cool thing that is to do. You know, that's why it's important to tell your story, to own your story, to put it out there, because there are people who need to hear it and they need to know that they're not alone, that there is a way out, that other people get out and they succeed. Or even if they're struggling in their story, whatever the case may be, they succeed in getting out. That's just a very important message for anybody, to know that you can do this. I have some people who have reached out from other cults. I have one actually coming out in about 3 weeks. And then I have a couple other people from other groups that have also reached out to tell their story. I always like that because it's just nice to hear that we weren't alone, and also just I think we can all learn from one another. Let's go over this tree. And so that's going really well. Oh yeah, I think I kind of touched on it earlier, but trees creaking. But I had planned on doing, so you know, if you listen or if you watch on YouTube, then you know that not only do I have the podcast episodes there, but I also do other videos. There's been some episodes on how to go to college, how to get a career. Those were released on the podcast. Also been episodes on how to ex-JW, things like perfectionism, things that come up in my coaching practice, things that people are struggling with, and I offer little short videos there to help people at least have a little nugget that they can walk away with that might change their life in some way. So always happy to do that. I had intended on doing that every other week throughout the winter, but I ended up getting sick a lot this winter. Seems like I caught everything that was going around, including COVID. COVID wasn't that bad, but some of the rest of it was a lot worse. And just really haven't Haven't been getting out and hiking like I used to. I usually hike about twice a week. It's my happy place. It gives me peace. Helps me kind of decompress a little bit after everything that I listen to in my coaching practice and all the stories that I hear on the podcast. And it gives me a place to kind of release some of that. But haven't been able to do that. That was largely in part just due to being sick. It was my intent, and I plan on getting back to that. In fact, I bought this little DJI Action 3 because I wanted to make it easier on myself. The camera I had before was kind of a pain. So it never hurts to make things easier on yourself if you want to get something done. So there's that. Okay, let's see. We are coming to the edge of something here. I'll show you. And then I'm going to have to take a little break real quick while I climb down. Here you go. So you can see the river down below. That's really cool rock formation there. Really neat. Back that direction, way back there, is the waterfall, the river coming out of the cave, and it comes down this direction, and my path out is somewhere way down there. But for now, I'm gonna have to let you guys go because I have to go down to the water. So I'm not gonna do that and try to hold this camera. So I will return shortly. All right, so this is one of my favorite little places here. It's the picnic table out kind of by itself. Beautiful creek flowing behind it. And I think this is where we're going to finish our conversation as I hear rain hitting the leaves around me. Oh, by the way, I also figured out that I have a hole in my back pocket, and when I put my phone in there, I felt it run through my leg, the back of my leg, so that was nice. So, yeah, let's see here. Hopefully the rain won't get too bad. Maybe I ought to throw on a hat just in case. But let's talk about a few other things that I've got to mention that I think you'll find interesting. I made a little list here so that I could remember everything I wanted to talk about. Those of you who followed me for some time know that at some point I did a video with ICSA. ICSA is the International Cultic Studies Association. They get involved in research regarding cults. They offer programs. They just, activism, lots of different things. They were nice enough I was welcomed to join them one time in the past and did a video with them. I've also been featured in a book or two that they did. And submitting some stories there, and as it really comes down now, and also this summer in late June they're going to have their annual conference. They have a conference each year. Usually it's in a place like New York, Toronto, Montreal, something like that, but this year it's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. And those of you who know me know that I'm a Louisville boy. I got the Louisville Cardinals on my hat right there. This is where I grew up. And so I caught wind that that's where they were going to be. I got excited. And so I decided to go ahead and sign up. So I will be speaking at the end of June. We'll see. I don't know what the rules are regarding recording and things like that. I will try to record it. I mean, if I have to, I'll do it again in my own studio, I guess. But the gist or the theme of the conference is COVID and the pandemic and cults and just how it all works together. So I'm going to be talking a lot about the impact that COVID and the pandemic had on Jehovah's Witnesses. I feel honored that I get to go up and speak at a conference and put Jehovah's Witnesses on the same platform as some of these other cults that will be talked about. So I'm excited to do that. Excited to get that message out there as well. And also just to meet people who've been come from other groups, other coaches, therapists, people who are in academia, who will be at that conference. So I'm really excited about it. I don't have my dates or anything exactly yet, but I just know that it's at the end of June, and I will be there. It'll be the the first time I've been at a podium of any type, giving a talk in the Louisville area since I was giving Bible talks or cult propaganda talks for Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's going to be both triggering and exciting in its own way. Speaking of this summer, I'd like to do some meetups this summer. It was a goal of mine last year. It got away from me. I'm not promising anything. I mean, it's not, it takes time to do everything that I want to do, but I want to go to places. So, I'm based in the Louisville area. I want to go to St. Louis, Indianapolis, Nashville, Cincinnati, try to use my platform to maybe get people together from those areas. So if you're from any of those areas, reach out. I would like to maybe hit one of those cities each month throughout the summer if I get time. And, my goal really is just to use my platform for good, to put myself out there. I get to meet people. That's always fun. I enjoy it as much as others do. I know people like to meet me. I know that some see me as a little celebrity at times. I find that's endearing. I'm just me, so it's kind of funny to me, but I understand. And so I want to give other people the chance to meet me if you want to meet me and you're in one of those areas. And I also want to give you the chance to meet other people from your area who maybe they also listen or whatever the case may be. Maybe at least share the interest in the podcast or something. If nothing else, you're ex-cult members, and maybe foster some relationships there, because a lot of people really are feeling very alone. And if the pandemic wasn't bad enough, add that to the loneliness of people who've had their entire support system, social network taken away from them, their family and everybody else. And yeah, it's kind of important to get out and meet people. So I at least want to help facilitate that opportunity if I can. I also kind of wanted to address, I had a Facebook group for about 4 or 5 years, had a couple thousand members in there. It was a pleasure to run it. But it was also a lot of work. Facebook, just in my opinion, Facebook sucks as a platform for many things. I did not like their admin tools and many other things. So in late last year, I created my own platform. I spent money on it. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I thought it would make it easier for me to moderate things because it was just such a pain. And there was a lot of things people wanted to talk about, but I was trying to keep it positive and try to keep it more of like a coaching group a little bit more than just an I Hate Jehovah's Witnesses group or whatever the case may be. And anyway, so I started the new platform. I tried to get moved over there, but very few people actually showed up on the new platform. I mean, I'm not stupid. I realize that it's difficult to get people to move from one platform to another. You're already on Facebook. You already get notifications there. That's where your people are. And so, it didn't work out. I shot my shot and I missed. And that's okay. But that was my last shot, at least for the time being, at running a group. If I may just endorse other groups or just endorse other people who run groups, if somebody's putting their time and effort into doing that, there's a lot of... The ex-JWs Witness community is full, as the rain comes down more, the ex-JWs Witness community is full of trauma victims, right? And trying to manage a group of 2,000 trauma victims, trauma survivors, is difficult. And, there are people out there who are running groups that roll at 8,000, 10,000 deep at times. And they have my utmost respect because it's very difficult. And there are a lot of people who get offended and fight all the time against what the admin's trying to do, and they have no clue what it takes to run such a group. So I invite you, if you hate the admins of a particular group or the moderators, rather than bitching about it, go start your own, see how that works out for you. If you are in one of those groups, thank those people. Those people are spending their time, their emotional and mental energy to give you a place to talk. And they catch a lot of crap for what they do. Believe me, I know. I have had people message my wife asking her how she could possibly be married to a person like me because I didn't let a post through. I have been accused of just everything from being like an elder to shunning people because they wouldn't abide by the rules and they had to go because they were toxic as hell. I have just, I've been on that end and it's exhausting. And so, I do a lot of other things, just don't have it to give to that anymore. Will I in the future? I don't know. Never say never. It's not how I roll. So I may get back into that game at some point and provide that safe place for people to talk. If I do, I had a Secret Santa every year for people to participate in. We have fantasy football groups for ex-JWs witnesses. I did a lot of things to try to really foster community. Met a lot of wonderful, amazing people. So please don't let my words here make it sound like I didn't also have a wonderful time, because I did, and it meant a lot to me. But there are certain ones of you out there who can kick rocks. I mean, you can go pound sand, really, because that's not cool. And the way you treat people who are putting themselves out there, often way more than you would ever be willing to do, it's really unconscionable and it's shameful. I have no place for that in my life, and so and neither should you, really. It's not a happy place to be going to a place that somebody has put up for support and to denigrate it in some way, run it down, or because they won't pander to you to go run your mouth about them. So just anyway, if you're in a group of any type, go thank an administrator today. Go thank a moderator today, because you have no clue what those people are dealing with. So I guess we're going to play a game of, is Mike wearing his hat or is he not wearing his hat, based on the rain comes and goes. But anyway, hat back on now. So, just updating on some other things. Patreon support's I've lost some Patreon support, that's for sure. If you're a person that appreciates what I do and you have a couple bucks to kick in, it's always vastly appreciated. There's been a lot of people who've kind of borne the brunt of that for a long time. I'm sure between inflation and everything else, I understand it's hard to part with any of your hard-earned cash. I get it. And but I also, it's very appreciated. So that is one way that you can support. You can go to patreon.com/shunned. The link's always in the show notes for everything I do. But it really does help, because I spend a tremendous amount of time. I buy cameras, I buy computers so that I can process video. I do a lot. There's a lot of investment that goes into this, not to mention the time and effort that I put. I mean, I work in the ex-JW community pretty much 7 days a week, whether people realize it or not. And, it is important to support the people who support you sometimes. And so, if you're able to do that, I always appreciate it. And if you're not, please, a review on iTunes, subscribing on YouTube, clicking the thumbs up button, things like that help promote this kind of content and help it to get seen. And I can tell you, you never know who's watching. I have active Jehovah's Witnesses who at times stumble upon this stuff. And it's in part because YouTube, I'm sure, is promoting this in some way. So it's just so important that you do that. I know you guys don't realize it. I take it for granted too. We all do. But just a simple review left on iTunes. I'm going to stand up here. Tired of sitting on that picnic table. A simple review left on iTunes. Kind word left in the comments. Things like that. Any engagement. Engagement helps. And so whether that's monetarily or whether that's time, just clicking the bell or clicking the thumbs up or subscribing, or whether that's going to a group and if there's an episode that impacted you in some way, just going and saying, hey, this was really cool, or maybe you ought to listen to this. Help spread the love, it's always appreciated. I also, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do if you've listened, because I do mention it, but I'm a cult recovery coach and also a life coach. And in my practice, in my coaching practice, I work with 6, 7 at times as many as 8. I'd rather not do 8. That's really hard. But 6 or 7 people a day. I work with 6 or 7 individuals a day, most days, helping them to make peace with the past, to understand what happened to them, to figure out who they are, to set boundaries, to learn tools they can use in their own life so that they can, go on and be happy. That's what I do, and I absolutely love what I do. If you're ever interested in working together, I do have a waiting list. You can go to exjwhelp.com or storyworkscoaching.com. Either of those sites, I think even on Sean Podcast, you can go and you can sign up for the waiting list. There is one. If you are on that waiting list, all I can tell you is I'm getting to people as quickly as I can. Healing is a process, not an event. There are no shortcuts. It takes time. And, I'm just one person, so I work with as many people as I possibly can. I never forget, not that I feel it's my responsibility to save anybody, but I always remember that scene in Schindler's List where it was Oscar Schindler at the end. He's just talking about how he could have sold his watch and saved one more, or whatever the case may be. He could have saved more people from the situation that they were in. And I don't, as far as boundaries go, I don't feel like I owe anyone that, but I do love what I do, and I'm very sincere about it. And I help as much as I can. Anyone who's reached out to me via email will tell you that I respond to all my emails. Now, that doesn't mean that I can give you free coaching via email and spend hours and hours and hours with you. Certainly I would love to, but I can't. I'm one person again, and I have to have my own life and take care of my own mental and emotional well-being. But I have always responded to everyone. Everything that I've done has been about the people who listen and the people who watch. And that's, and now the people that I get to coach. It's a privilege, an honor, and I absolutely love what I do and everyone that I work with. So, if it is something that you're interested in, join the waiting list. And if you're on the waiting list, be patient. And as spots open up in the schedule, I'll reach out and let you know. That's all I can do. But I do value, I know I can help. I get to do it every day. So it's kind of disappointing that I can't help everybody, but such is life. And finally, as the rain gets even harder before I have to get out of here, just a little, I thought I'd let you all know, clue you in on a little personal bit about us, what we're up to right now. I will be releasing a new episode of This JW Life at some point. As we get closer to the end of having it translated into Spanish, I'm going to be working on that. I just don't have time right now. That's going to take a little while. So I'm going to release an update episode that kind of lets you in a little bit on our lives and who we are today, where we've gone since 2017 when I released This JW Life. And but for now, this weekend, it's March. What is it? March 16th. This weekend is Jenny's circus. I like to say that my wife left the cult and ran off and joined the circus. She is an aerialist. She does something called swinging ladders, and she also helps with the clowning program there. And so she does that. She'll be busy the next 2 weekends, performing all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and helping others to perform. It's always wonderful to find things that you love when you leave a cult and that part of your identity behind. For myself, I think next weekend I might go try my first ever autocross race. If you don't know what autocross racing is, it's auto racing. This one will be on an airport strip. They set up cones. It's a lot of slaloms and boxes. It's not really straight line racing. Whew, comes the rain. And so anyway, I'm going to get into that, or I think I'm going to at least try that. It's important to try new things after leaving a cult. You never know what you might like. I always loved cars, something I wasn't really allowed to get into as a witness much. No time for that. But I bought a little 2002 New Edge Mustang GT back during the pandemic. And it's loud and torquey, and I enjoy it. And it has a shunned license plate on the back. I got the vanity plate for Indiana. So, I'm looking forward to getting out there on the track and, experiencing something new. It's really important to try new things. Last year we got into pickleball. We started playing pickleball. That's kind of fun. I've always loved sports, and Jenny likes sports too. So I've been playing pickleball. I also picked the basketball back up and just started going back to the courts and shooting around and stuff. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I still enjoy it, but I'm not 20 anymore, and I can't play like I used to. But it's fun to go out and shoot. And so, I always am a proponent for getting out there, trying new things, seeing what's out there. As you've noticed from everything that I've talked to you about, everything from I'm trying a new camera today, to I'm out here hiking my favorite place and sharing it with you, which is new, to putting myself out there and speaking for ICSA and, for ex-JWs witnesses a little bit this summer, to the podcasts that I do, to putting them in Spanish, to just all of this stuff. It's all been a process of trying new things since I first told my story on this JW Life in 2017. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So try new things. You never know what it might bring into your life. Doesn't mean it's not scary. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to be shaken when I go out there next Saturday if I go out and try autocross. But it's important to try new things and see what happens. So here comes the wind. I think that's my cue to start getting myself out of the valley here. So I will see you next time in the next episode of the podcast. And hopefully, with my new camera and everything, I'll be able to get out and do some more vlogs, let you in on my life a little bit, but also, do some things as far as talking about some of the things that come up in my coaching practice, some of the things that might be helpful to you too on your journey. So I'll see you on the other side, and take care. Bye.